Hello, welcome to our channel Learn to Score. In this video, we are going to cover coordinate geometry for class 10th. The topics covered are basics or introduction to coordinate geometry, the distance between 2 points, section point formula or section formula, centroid of a triangle, area of a triangle, and slope of a line in the topic of straight lines. I hope you will like the video. Please subscribe to our channel for regular updates. Thank you. Let us learn about some basic concepts based on this topic. When you draw two number lines perpendicular to each other, you get a Cartesian coordinate system in 2D plane as shown here. Here O is denoting the origin of the coordinate system. Horizontal line is called x-axis and vertical line is called y-axis, right? Let us consider a point P. As you see here, P represents a pair of real numbers, that is number 3 on x-axis and number 4 on y-axis, right? So that pair is denoted as x coordinate comma y coordinate. P is x coordinate comma y coordinate. X coordinate is also called abscissa and y coordinate is called ordinate. Please note this point. Let us draw a line PA perpendicular to x-axis as shown here. As you see here, length of line segment OA is given by x coordinate of P, right? X coordinate of P is 3 units. So length of line segment OA is 3 units, right? And we can also say that length of OA is equal to the distance between origin O and point A on the x-axis, right? Now let us draw line PB perpendicular to y-axis as shown here. As you see here, length of OB is denoted by y coordinate of P, right? That is 4. Length of OB is 4 units. We can also say that length of OB is equal to distance between origin O and point B, right? Now let's learn about distance between 2 points. Let us mark 2 points, 2 comma 0 that is denoted using A and 6 comma 0 that is denoted using B. The distance between A and B can be written as the difference in x coordinates of B and A, right? So x coordinate of B is 6, x coordinate of A is 2. Their difference is 6 minus 2, that is equal to 4, right? I can say that distance between A and B is 4 units. Now let's mark two more points. Minus 2 comma 0 denoted using C and minus 6 comma 0 denoted using D. As you see here, the difference in x coordinates of D and C can be written as minus 6 minus of minus 2, that is equal to minus 4, right? And as you see from the figure, length of line segment CD is 4 units, right? You can see this. From here to here, if you count, the length of line segment CD is 4 units, right? Whereas the difference in x coordinates has come as minus 4. So what we would be doing now is, we would express the distance between C and D in an operator called modulus operator. That is, here if you observe this, I have put minus 6 minus of minus 2 in between two vertical lines, right? Those vertical lines are called modulus operator. For example, here, if you have n in between those two vertical lines, that's why we say that this is modulus of n. What modulus operator does is, it removes the sign. In this particular case, you are getting modulus of minus 4. Once you drop the sign because of the modulus operator, you are getting answer as 4, right? So to say the formula, the distance between 2 points x1 comma 0 and x2 comma 0 is equal to modulus of x1 minus x2. You can write it as modulus of x2 minus x1 also. Because sign is dropped, it doesn't matter what you are going to get in as as uh, as the result of x1 minus x2. I hope you understood this concept. Let us mark 2 points 0 comma 2, that is denoted using p, it is on y-axis now, and 0 comma 5, that is denoted using q. The distance between p and q can be now written as modulus of 5 minus 2 or modulus of 2 minus 5. In the first case, you are getting answer as 3 here, whereas here you are getting minus 3 as the answer. Since you have modulus operator, that sign is dropped. That's why you are getting answer as 3 units only. The distance between P and Q is 3 units. So to write the formula, distance between 0 comma y1 and 0 comma y2 is equal to modulus of y1 minus y2. You can write it as modulus of y2 minus y1 also. Doesn't matter. Let's now, till now what we have seen is distance between 2 points, either they are lying on x-axis or they are lying on y-axis, right? Now let's consider a different scenario. Let's mark 2 points 7 comma 3, that is denoted using p is 2 comma 3 and 7 comma 3 is q. As you see here, y coordinates of p and q are same, right? That is 3 comma 3. It means if you draw a line connecting p and q, it is going to be parallel to the x-axis, right? Since y coordinates are same, those 2 points, if you draw a line connecting those 2 points, you will get the line parallel to x-axis. If x coordinates are same, then you are going to get line parallel to y-axis. I hope you understood this concept. Now, as you see here, a is 2 comma 0, right? I have just drawn a perpendicular line from P to x-axis. Similarly, B is 7 comma 0, right? The distance between A and B, now I can say that that is equal to distance between P and Q, right? If you agree with that, we know that distance between x1 comma 0 and x2 comma 0 can be written as modulus of x2 minus x1, right? Now, as per this formula, I can find the distance between points A and B, right? Because they are 2 comma 0 and 7 comma 0. The distance between A and B is modulus of 7 minus 2, that is equal to 5. That is equal to distance PQ also, right? Now let's derive a formula for finding the distance between 2 points irrespective of whether they are on x-axis, y-axis, or parallel to x-axis or parallel to y-axis or any other configuration for that matter. Let us now consider 2 points A and B as shown here. Let's find the distance between these 2 points A and B. As you see here, A is denoted using x1 comma y1, whereas B is x2 comma y2. If I connect A and B, I am getting a line segment AB, right? Let me mark this particular point. When I mark it, what I get is, mark that as R. I'm getting a triangle ABR, right? As you see here, that is a right angle triangle. It means we can make use of Pythagoras theorem, right? As you see here, AR can be written as x2 minus x1, right? x2 minus x. That is length of AR. BR can be written as y2 minus y1, right? y2 minus. Now, we know that Pythagoras theorem says that AB square, that is hypotenuse square, is equal to sum of other squares of other two sides, AR square plus BR square, right? Now let's apply Pythagoras theorem to these two quantities AR and BR so that we can get AB square value. AB square can be written as x2 minus x1 whole square, that is AR square, plus y2 minus y1 whole square, that is BR square, right? So if I simply take the square on this side, then what I get is square root on this side, right? AB can be now written as square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Please note this formula. So now I can say that the distance between 2 points x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2 equal to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. Here, whether you write it as x1 minus x2 or x2 minus x1, it doesn't make any difference because we are taking square of it, right? That's why in this formula, you can write in any order x1 minus x2 whole square plus y1 minus y2 whole square also. Otherwise, it's always better to keep this notation fixed, x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square under root. That gives you the distance between 2 points x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2. Please note this formula so that you will be in a position to solve some problems based on this. Let us solve some problems based on this concept. Find the distance between points a equal to 4 comma 0 and b equal to 8 comma 0. As you see here, y coordinates of a and b are 0 here, right? It means we can apply the formula we have learned for this kind of system. Distance between x1 comma 0 and x2 comma 0 can be written as modulus of x2 minus x1, right? Now let's substitute the values x1 equal to 4 and x2 equal to 8 into this equation such that you get distance between a and b as modulus of 8 minus 4, that is equal to 4, right? We have also learnt about another formula just now that doesn't really worry about whether you have the given points on x-axis or y-axis or somewhere else, right? Let's try to solve this problem using that formula also. The formula given is distance between 2 points x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2 is square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, right? x1 is 4, y1 is 0, x2 is 8, y2 is 0. Let's substitute them such that you will get distance between 2 points, that is square root of 8 minus 4 whole square plus 0 minus 0 whole square. That can be simplified and written as square root of 4 whole square, that is equal to square root of 16, that is equal to 4. It means the distance between 2 points A and B is 4 units, right? Whichever formula you have chosen, answer you're going to get is the same. So it's always better to keep using this particular formula. So you don't need to really worry about, whether it is on x-axis or y-axis or parallel to x-axis, parallel to y-axis or not. It doesn't matter. Let's go to the next problem. Problem number 2. A and B are 2 points given by 8 comma 3 and minus 4 comma 3. Find the distance between A and B. Here if you observe, these two are same, right? So one can make use of the other formula, but I'm straight away going and using this particular formula. Distance between 2 points x1 comma y1 and x2 comma y2 equal to square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. As you see here, a equal to 8 comma 3, it means x1 equal to 8 and y1 equal to 3, right? B equal to minus 4 comma 3, it means x2 equal to minus 4 and y2 equal to 3. When you substitute these two into this particular formula, you can get the distance between 2 points 8 comma 3 and minus 4 comma 3 as square root of 8 minus 4 whole square plus 3 minus 3 whole square. When you simplify it, you get answer as 12. So the distance between A and B is 12 units. This is what we are asked to find. Let's go to the next problem. Show that the points A 4 comma 2, B 7, 5 and C 9, 7 are 3 points lie on a same line. Prior to attempting this problem, I would like you to understand some concept about collinear points. What are collinear points? The points that all lie on a same line are called collinear. For example, consider a few points A, B, C, D, E, and F. As you see here, if I draw a line, it is passing straight line. It is passing through points A, B, and C, right? It means points A, B, and C are falling on a straight line. Hence, we can say that A, B, C are collinear points. If I draw another line that passes through B, D, E, and F, right? Hence, I can say that B, D, E, and F are collinear points. I hope you understood the concept of collinear points, right? Let's now learn about the relation between collinear points and their distances. Let us consider 4 points A, B, C, and D as shown in the figure. If you draw a line, it is passing through ABC. It means point ABC are collinear points, right? Whereas D is away from this particular line. If you observe the distance between AB, that is denoted using AB, and distance between BC, that is line segment BC, and the distance between AC is the line segment AC, right? As you see here. What you must have observed now is length of AB plus length of BC equal to length of AC, right? And we said that these 3 points A, B, and C are collinear points. In such a scenario, you have length of AB plus length of BC is getting equal to length of AC. It means what you have to understand here is when you have 3 points collinear, the distances between those points are related. As you see here, points A, B, and D are not collinear, right? If you observe the distances between AB, BD, and AD, there is no relation exists as such equality relation. So length of AB plus length of BD, if you take, that is not going to be equal to length of AD. And another interesting point you have to note here is that when these 3 points are not collinear, they are forming a triangle. Please note this point. So the message we have to take from this particular example is when 3 points are collinear, sum of distances between two pairs, in this particular case AB and BC, of 3 points that are ABC is equal to the distance between third pair of points, that is AC. The point we have to note here is when 3 points are collinear, sum of distances between two pairs of 3 points is equal to the distance between third pair of points. With that in mind, let's go back to the problem and show that the given points are lying on the same line, means they are collinear points. We want to show that. So to do that, let's find distance between A and B, B and C and A. These are the 3 pairs, right? And we know that distance between 2 points can be computed as square root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square, right? Now, distance between 4, 2 and 7, 5, that is line segment AB, equal to 7 minus 4 whole square plus 5 minus 2 whole square. This is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y. When you substitute this into this particular formula, you're going to get an equation like this. And when you simplify it, you get it as this is 3, this is also 3. So when you have that 3 square plus 3 square, that is 2 times 3 square under root. So I can write it as 3 root 2, right? So now Let's find distance between another pair of points, that is 7 comma 5 and 9 comma 7. This is, let's say, x1 y1 x2 y2. When you substitute those into this particular formula, you get BC equal to square root of 9 minus 7 whole square plus 7 minus 5 whole square. When you simplify it, you get an answer that is 2 root 2. Please note this. Now let's find distance between another pair, that is 4 comma 2 and 9 comma 7. Here 4 is x1, 2 is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. When you substitute them into this particular formula, what you get is AC equal to square root of 9 minus 4 whole square plus 7 minus 2 whole square. When you simplify it, you get answer as 5 root 2. Now what I'm going to do is, I'll take sum of AB and BC because these are the two small numbers, right, compared to the third number. So let me sum these two. So AB plus BC is 3 root 2 plus 2 root 2. I can write it as 5 root 2, right? This is exactly equal to the distance between A and C, right? That is the third pair, 5 root 2. So now AB plus BC equal to AC, I can write it that way. Since the distance between two pairs, when you sum them, is equal to the distance between the third pair, we can say that these 3 points, A, B, and C, are collinear points, or they lie on a same line. That's the whole idea of this particular problem. Let's go to the next problem, that is problem number 4. Are the points 3 comma 2 minus 2 comma minus 3 and 2 comma 3 form a triangle, right? We have learned about this particular concept. If they are falling on a line, then they are called collinear points. If they are not falling on a line, they are collinear points. Sorry, they are not collinear points, right? If they are not falling on a line, they are not collinear points. In that case, they are forming a triangle, right? So what we have to now do is, we have to see whether they are collinear or not. And if they are not collinear, then we can say that they form a triangle. Okay? We can see that using the formula given for distance, right? Distance between 2 points is given, that formula. So using that, if we are given 3 points, it means we can form 3 pairs, right? And find their distances. The first one is 3 comma 2 and minus 2 comma minus 3, that pair. The distance between these 2 points can be now written as PQ equal to square root of minus 2 minus 3 whole square plus minus 3 minus 2 whole square. When you simplify it, you get answer as 5 root 2. I'm further simplifying it and writing it as 7.07. Okay. Now let's take another pair, that is Q comma Q and R. This particular pair I am here, if you observe, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, this is y2. When you substitute these values into this particular formula, what you get is QR equal to square root of 52. That when you simplify, you get answer 7.21. Now let me find the distance between other pair, that is R and P. Here, this is your x1, this is x2, sorry, y1, this is x2, this is y2, right? When you substitute that into this particular formula, you're going to get PR equal to 1.41, that is root 2. For all these, I have chosen only 2 digits after the decimal point. If you observe, this one and this one are smaller than this particular one, right? So that's why let's sum these two, line PQ and line PR lengths. Sum of two distances, 7.07 and 1.41, is 8.48. That is greater than 7 point, right? If you take any other pair, you are not going to get any equality. For example, if you take these two, then it is going to be 14 point something. So, it's much bigger than 1.41. If you take these two, that is much bigger than 7.07. So in all three cases, we are not getting equality relation, right? It means since equality is not holding true, or in other words, since sum of any two of these distances is greater than the third distance, I can say that the given points form a triangle because they are not collinear. I hope you understood the concept. Let us learn about section formula now. Let us consider a line segment AB as shown in the figure and divide AB into two equal parts. To do that, let me mark a point P on AB such that AP equal to PB. As you see here, AP is equal to PB. Since AP equal to PB, I can write it as AP by PB equal to 1 by 1 or AP is to PB equal to 1 is to 1. Now let's consider another case where point Q is marked on line AB. The ratio of AQ and QB is not known, right? The scenario you have in hand now is point dividing the line is known, but we don't know the proportion or the ratio in which the point Q is dividing line segment AB into two parts, right? The other scenario you can encounter is proportion of lengths of segments may be known and you may be asked to find the point which is dividing the line segment in that particular proportion. These kind of problems can be addressed using section point formula or section formula. Let's try to understand section formula now. Let us consider line segment AB and point P dividing it into two parts as shown here. P is called section point. Please note this point. Now the question is how to find P if AP by PB is known. If I am given AP, length of AP and length of PB, I know AP by PB. Then how do I find point P? Length of AP is M1 units. Length of PB is M2 units. It means AP by PB equal to M1 by M2, right? This is known, let's say. Now we have to find point P. It means we have to find the section point. Let's draw lines perpendicular to x-axis through A, P and B as shown here. And now draw lines perpendicular to y-axis through A, P and B as shown here. As you see here, A1 equal to x1 comma y1, sorry, A equal to x1 comma y1, B equal to x2 comma y2 and P is x comma y, right? Now let's consider right triangles, triangle APQ and triangle PCB. As you see here, angle A and angle P are corresponding angles, right? They are equal. Angle PAQ equal to angle BPC, right? And another angle we have here is right angle, right? So that these two are right angles. So angle AQP equal to angle PCB equal to 90 degrees. So you may recall that WA criterion or AA criterion of similarity of triangles says that when two of the angles are equal, two of the corresponding angles of two triangles are equal, those two triangles are similar. It means I can write angle APQ is similar to angle PCB. Sorry, triangle APQ is similar to triangle PCB, right? And we know that corresponding sides of similar triangles are proportional. It means here PQ and BC are corresponding sides. Their ratio is going to be equal to ratio of another pair of corresponding sides that are AQ and PC. So PQ by BC equal to AQ by PC, that is equal to AP by PB, and we know length of AP equal to M1 units and PB equal to M2 units, right? Let's take a note of this and let's try to get AQ by PC. AQ can be written as x minus x1, right? Similarly, PC can be written as x2 minus x, right? So AQ by PC, we know that is equal to M1 by M2. Here we have written already that. So when you equate these, M1 by M2 can be written as x minus x1 divided by x2 minus x, right? Let's rearrange this by cross multiplication. When you do that, when I say cross multiplication, I'll get m1 times x2 minus x equal to m2 times x minus x1, right? Let's further rearrange this equation so that I can write it as m1 x2 plus m2 x1 equal to m1 plus m2 times x. Let me rearrange this such that I can write x equal to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 divided by m1 plus m2, right? Please take a note of this formula. X equal to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 divided by m1 plus m2, and go back to PQ by PC. As you see here, PQ is this particular line segment, right? That is y minus y1, and BC is this particular line segment, y2 minus y. So PQ by BC can be written as m1 by m2 from this particular equation. So let me substitute PQ equal to y minus y1 and BC equal to y2 minus y, so that I can write it as m1 by m2 equal to y minus y1 divided by y2 minus y, right? When you rearrange this equation, you can write y as m1 y2 plus m2 y1 divided by m1 plus. If you observe these two equations are more or less similar. Where you have x2, I have y2. Where I have x1, I have y1, right? And we know that P is the section point, right? That is denoted using x comma y. You see here, P is x comma y. Now I can write section point P equal to x comma y equal to m1 x2 plus m2 x1 divided by m1 plus m2, comma m1 y2 plus m2 y1 divided by m1 plus m2, right? Please note this particular formula. You will be solving some problems based on this formula. Let's take a look at some special cases of section point formula. We have just derived section formula. If the ratio is k is to 1, then what is your section formula? X comma y. What is your section point? X comma y. Ratio is k is to 1 means I can write it as m1 by m2 equal to k by 1, that is equal to k, right? What I'm going to do now is I take this particular equation and rearrange. What I'm doing is I'm taking only this particular part, that is m1 x2 plus m2 x1 divided by m1 plus m2, and I'm taking m2 as a common factor from the numerator out. When I do that, I'll get m1 by m2 here, and here I'll get 1, right? Similarly, when I do that, when I do take m2 as a common factor out from the denominator also, I'll get m1 by m2 here and plus 1 here, right? It is given that m1 by m2 equal to k, that is here, right? Now I can cross this m2 and m2. So what I have is m1 by m2 times x2 plus x1 divided by m1 by m2 plus x1, right? So let me write m1 by m2 equal to k. When I do that, I'll get an expression kx2 plus x1 divided by k plus 1. This is similar to this. We can write even for the second part, that is corresponding to y. When you do that, you get it as k times y2 plus y1 divided by k plus 1. Now, the section formula is going to be kx2 plus x1 divided by k plus 1, comma, ky2 plus y1 divided by k plus 1, right? This particular formula is also useful when the ratio is given as a single number like k is to 1. The section point can be computed using this particular formula. Please note this formula. Let's take a look at another special case, that is midpoint. If the ratio of m1 and m2 is given, that is 1 is to 1, then what is your x comma y, the section point, right? The section formula we have already, and let me substitute m1 equal to 1 and m2 equal to 1 into this particular equation such that, and simplify such that I can get x comma y equal to x2 plus x1 divided by 2, y2 plus y1 divided by 2, right? Now I can write the midpoint as x comma y equal to x2 plus x1 divided by 2, comma y2 plus y1 divided by 2. This is the midpoint formula. All these formulas are derived from this particular formula called section point formula, right? Please note these formulas so that we can solve some problems based on this concept. Let's take a look at a problem. Find the coordinates of point which divides the line segment joining the points 4, minus 3 and 8, 5 in the ratio 3 is to 1 internally. We know the section formula or section point formula. Here if I say that x1, y1 equal to 4, 3, 4, minus 3 and x2, y2 equal to 8, 5 and the ratio 3 is to 1 can be written as m1 is to m2 equal to 3 is to 1, then I can substitute all these quantities, right, into section point formula, such that I can get the coordinates x, y. When I substitute and simplify, what I get is x, y equal to 7, 3. So to answer the question, we can say that point 7, 3 divides the line segment joining the points 4, minus 3 and 8, 5 in the ratio 3 is to 1 internally. I hope you understand the problem, right? Let's go to the next problem, that is problem number 2. Find the midpoint of the line segment joining the points 3, 0 and minus 1, 4. So we have the midpoint formula x, y equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2, right? Here x1, y1 is 3, 0 and x2, y2 is minus 1, 4. Let's substitute these two into this particular equation so that I'll get midpoint x, y equal to 1, 2. So to answer the question, the midpoint of the line segment joining the points 3, 0 and minus 1, 4 is 1, 2. I hope you understand the concept. Let's learn about centroid of a triangle now. Prior to that, let's understand about medians of a triangle. Let us consider a triangle ABC as shown here. As you see here, the point P is the midpoint of side AB, right? Length of line segment AP is 4 units and PB is 4 units. That's why it is a midpoint. Similarly, point Q is the midpoint of BC, right? Let me mark point R. You see here, length of line segment AR I have taken using red colored arrow, and that is equal to length of line segment RC, right? It means R is the midpoint of side AC, right? Let me write that. Now what I'm going to do is I'll connect point P to vertex C. In other words, I'm saying I'm going to draw a line from point vertex C to the midpoint of the side opposite to vertex C. The side opposite to vertex C is AB. The midpoint is P. I'm drawing a line from C to P. that particular line is called a median of the triangle. Similarly, if I connect point R to vertex B, that line BR is also a median. If I connect point Q to vertex A, what I get is line AQ, that is also a median. As you see here, we have three medians corresponding to three vertices of a given triangle, right? And another interesting point is all these medians are intersecting at a point. I'm denoting that point as O, and that particular point is called centroid of the triangle. It means O is the centroid of the triangle ABC in this particular case. I'm taking measure of line segment OQ. As you see here, line segment AO is equal to length of line segment AO is equal to 2 times length of line segment OQ, right? Let me write that. AO equal to 2 times OQ. From this, what I can say is centroid is dividing the median in the ratio 2:1, right? This particular thing is applicable for other medians also, but I'm not showing here. If you take measure of OR and see measure of OB, you will get the same relation again. The same is true with OP and CO. Let's see whether this particular relation of centroid dividing the median in the ratio of 2:1 is applicable for other triangles or not. For that, let me consider a triangle ABC as shown here. BC length is 12 units, and let me mark a midpoint P and draw median as shown here. Midpoint is at 6 units, right? Similarly, as you see here, length of line segment AC or side AC is 10 units. The midpoint is at 5. So let me draw median BR as shown here. As you see here, AB is 10 units and midpoint is at 5, and let me draw median CQ as shown here. As you see here, all these three medians are intersecting at one point, right? That point is O, and that is called centroid of the triangle, right? Centroid of triangle ABC is O here. Let me take measure of median BR so that I can get the ratio of OR and BO. As you see here, BO is 8 units and OR is 12 minus 8, that is equal to 4 units, right? So BO by OR is 2:1, 8 by 4. Similarly, if I take measure of AP with a different scale, what I get is OP is 3 units and OA is 6 units. So AO by OP is 2 by 1. Similarly, if I take measure of QC with a different scale, I get CO by OQ equal to 8 by 4, that is equal to 2 by 1, right? So what you have understood is centroid divides the median in the ratio 2:1, irrespective of which median you take and which triangle you take, right? With this concept in mind, let's go and derive the formula for centroid of a triangle. Let us consider a triangle ABC as shown here. I'm denoting A as x1 comma y1, B as x2 comma y2, and C as x3 comma y3. Let's draw median AD from the center of midpoint of BC is D. I'm drawing a median AD now. Since D is midpoint of BC, I can use midpoint formula, right? B is x2 comma y2 and C is x3 comma y3. When you substitute them into the midpoint formula, you get D equal to x2 plus x3 divided by 2 comma y2 plus y3 divided by 2. I am denoting that as xd comma yd for convenience sake. You don't need to really write this way. Now let me draw other medians also such that I can mark the centroid. As you see here in the figure, Z is the centroid of triangle ABC, right? Now we can find the coordinates of centroid, and we know that centroid divides the median in the ratio 2:1, right? It means this length is 2 and this length is 1. Here I'm calling this as x1, y1, right? This is xd, yd. When you are using section point formula, I'm calling this as x2, y2 for convenience sake, so that you can simply substitute into section point formula, right? The point 1 is corresponding to A and 2 is corresponding to D in our case now. So let's substitute A equal to x1 comma y1, D, sorry, x2 comma y2 equal to xd comma yd. Let me write it. x1, x2 comma y2 equal to xd comma yd. And m1 and m2 are anyway known, that is m1 is to m2 equal to 2:1, right? Now when I substitute this, what I get is g of x comma y equal to 2 times xd plus 1 x1 divided by 1 plus 2, and 2 times yd plus 1 y1 divided by 1 plus 2, right? Let me simplify this. When I simplify, and what I'm getting here is 2 times xd plus x1 by 3 comma 2 times yd plus y1 by 3, right? Now we know what are the values of xd and yd. We can substitute them into this equation, right? For that, what I'm going to do is, let me consider only this particular part and simplify it. 2 times xd plus x1 by 3 now can be written as 2 times x2 plus x3 divided by 2 plus x1 divided by 3, right? I can cancel these 2's. When I do that, I'll get it as x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by 3, right? Similarly, when I do this for this particular part, y coordinate, I get y1 plus y2 plus y3 divided by 3, right? Now the centroid z of x comma y can be written as x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by 3 comma y1 plus y2 plus y3 divided by 3. Please take a note of this particular formula. With this formula, using this formula, we are going to solve one problem on this. Let's take a look at the problem. Find the centroid of the triangle whose vertices are 3 comma minus 5, minus 7 comma 4 and 10 comma minus 2 respectively. We know the centroid formula. X comma y equal to x1 plus x2 plus x3 divided by 3 comma y1 plus y2 plus y3 divided by 3, right? x1 comma y1 is 3 comma minus 5, x2 comma y2 equal to minus 7 comma 4, x3 comma y3 equal to 10 comma minus 2. Let's substitute these three into the previous equation such that I'll get centroid x comma y as 2 comma minus 1. So to answer the question, centroid of the triangle whose vertices are 3 comma minus 5, minus 7 comma 4 and 10 comma minus 2 respectively is 2 comma minus 1. I hope you understand the concept now. Let us learn about area of triangle now. Consider 2 points A equal to 0 comma 4 as shown here and B 6 comma 0 as shown here. If I connect A and B, it is forming a triangle AOB, right? What is the area of triangle AOB? We know that area of triangle is defined as half base times height, right? Here base is OB, that is equal to 6 units, and height OA is 4 units. Let's substitute these into the previous formula so that we can get area of triangle AOB as 12 square units. Area of triangle AOB is 12 square units. Let's take a note of that. And now let's derive formula of area of triangle using the concept of coordinate geometry. Let us consider triangle ABC as shown here. A is x1 comma y1, B is x2 comma y2, and C is x3 comma y3, right? Let's draw lines AP, BQ, and CR perpendicular to x-axis as shown here. Let us observe the figure. When you observe the figure, you find three trapeziums. Here, the one in red is trapezium ABQP. The one in green is trapezium APRC. And one in black is trapezium BQRC, right? If you observe the figure, what you can say is area of triangle ABC is equal to area of trapezium ABQP, that was shown in red earlier, plus area of trapezium APRC, that was shown in green earlier, minus area of trapezium BQRC, which is shown in black now also, right? Let's take a note of this and try to get the formula for area of trapezium now. Let us consider a trapezium ABCD as shown here. Area of trapezium is defined as half times sum of parallel sides into the distance between parallel sides. The distance between parallel sides can be denoted using line BP shown here, right? The parallel sides are AB and DC. So now area of trapezium can be written as half times AB plus CD, those are the lengths of parallel sides, into BP, that is the distance between the parallel sides. If you have any doubts about this particular formula, you can think of this as a combination of two triangles, triangle ADC and triangle ABC, right? In the case of triangle ADC, base is DC and height is BP, right? In the case of other triangle, triangle ABC, base is AB and height is BP. When you substitute these, you will get area of trapezium as half AB plus CD times BP. I hope you understood the formula of area of trapezium. Let's go back to the previous derivation of area of triangle formula. Area of triangle ABC can be written as area of ABQP plus area of APRC minus area of BQRC, right? And area of trapezium is defined as half times sum of parallel sides into distance between parallel sides. So let's consider ABQP. In this particular case, the parallel sides are here, BQ and AP, right? That's what we have written. BQ and AP are the parallel sides, and the distance between them is QP, that is here. So area of ABQP now can be written as half times BQ plus AP times QP, right? Similarly, I can write formula for area of APRC, that is half AP plus RC, those are the parallel sides, times PR, that is the height of or the distance between the parallel sides, that is here, right? Now let's go to area of triangle BQRC. It can be written as B half of BQ plus RC times QR, right? QR is the distance between the parallel sides BQ and RC, right? Let's take a note of these three equations for area of the three trapeziums. And now go back to the actual figure. As you see here, we said that A equal to x1 comma y1, B equal to x2 comma y2, and C is x3 comma y3, right? So BQ, if you observe, that is your y2, right? BQ is y2. And AP is y1. Right? So, and QP is the distance between point P and point Q, right? that is x2 minus x1 minus x2, right? So you got now area of ABQP as half y2 plus y1 times x1 minus x2, right? Similarly, we can find area of APRC also. That can be written as half y1 plus y3 times x3 minus x1. So area of BQRC is half y2 plus y3 times x3 minus x2. Now let's substitute all these three into this particular equation, so that I can write area of triangle ABC equal to half. I can take out as, and then y2 plus y1, this particular thing is coming here, and this one is coming here, and this one is coming, right? So now what I do is I'll do multiplication of the first part, y2 plus y1 times x1 minus x2. When you multiply, I get y2 times x1, and then y2 times x2 minus y2 times x2, that is. And then now you take the y1 and multiply y1 and x1, that is plus y1 x1, and then y1 and minus x2, so that you get minus y1 and x2, right? Now you can write it for the first part. Similarly, if I do this for this particular part and this particular part, I'll get an expression like this. As you see here, I have marked few terms in red color, few terms in black color, and few terms in green color. You observe them. What you could get now is the following. As you see here, the red color ones can get cancelled. Let me cancel minus y2 x2 with minus y2 x2, and this is minus. So this is going to be plus y2 x2, so I can cancel. Similarly, y1 x1 in black minus y1 x1, and then green y3 x3, and that is plus y3 x3, and you have minus sign here, so that it is minus y3 x3. So I can cancel that. Once I cancel, what I can do is I can write the rest of the equation, so that now it can be written as half y2 x1 minus y1 x2, that is from first part, plus y1 x3 minus y3 x1 minus y2 x3 minus y3 x2, right? Let me rearrange this so that I can write all the terms which are having x1 in one place, all the terms having x2 in another place, and all the terms having x3 in the last. When I do that, you see y2 x1 and minus y3 x1 are here. Similarly, I have written for x2 terms and x3 terms also, right? Let me take the things which are common as out, so that the first term will become x1 times y2 minus y3, and the second term is going to be, this particular term is going to be x2 times y3 minus y1, and this particular term is going to be x3 times y1 minus y3, right? So now I can write the area of triangle formula as half x1 times y2 minus y3 plus x2 times y3 minus y1 plus x3 times y1 minus y2, right? Let's take a note of this formula. This is what we have derived till now, right? If you observe this, for example, if I take the magnitude of y2, and in certain cases there is a chance that based on the coordinates you take for x1 y1, the coordinates you take for x2 y2, and the values you take for x3 y3, there is a chance that you get answer as negative for area of triangle. That is not correct, right? Area cannot be a negative number. That's why what we do is, instead of putting these brackets at the end, I'll put a modulus operator. Let me write now area of triangle as half mod of x1 times y2 minus y3 plus x2 times y3 minus y1 plus x3 times y1 minus y2. This is the formula, final formula we are going to use to solve some problems. But you take a note of this, the modulus operator is going to drop the sign. For example, based on the choice you make for the values of various coordinates in the given problem, you may end up with negative number as answer for area of triangle. You don't want to have that. For that reason, we put modulus operator, so that mod operator drops the sign and automatically gives the same number, the magnitude, irrespective of whether your answer is plus or minus. Right? I hope you understood the concept. Let us solve some problems based on this concept now. Find the area of triangle whose vertices are 1 comma minus 1, minus 4 comma 6, and minus 3 comma minus 5. We know the area of triangle is defined as half modulus of x1 times y2 minus y3 plus x2 times y3 minus y1 plus x3 times y1 minus y2, right? Let me now assume that x1 comma y1 equal to 1 comma minus 1, x2 comma y2 is minus 4 comma 6, and x3 comma y3 equal to minus 3 comma minus 5. Let us now substitute these into the formula of area of triangle. So when I substitute and simplify, what I get is area of triangle equal to 24 square units. Please follow the simplification. So I can write area of triangle whose vertices are 1 comma minus 1, minus 4 comma 6, and minus 3 comma minus 5 is 24 square units. Right? Let's go to the next problem. That is problem number 2. If a equal to minus 5 comma 7, b equal to minus 4 comma minus 5, and c equal to minus 1 comma minus 6, and d equal to 4 comma 5 are the vertices of a quadrilateral, then find the area of the quadrilateral ABCD. If you plot, you will get a figure like this for quadrilateral ABCD. As you see here, A, B, C, D are following a pattern, right? It is counterclockwise pattern they are following. If they are following clockwise pattern, also fine. If it is not, then there is a chance that you will get wrong results. For that reason, it is always better to plot first and see whether they are following certain pattern or not. Otherwise, you have to put them in a right format, plot it, and then go ahead with your solution of the problem. So now let's connect B and D. When you connect B and D, what you could get is two triangles, right? Triangle ABD and triangle BCD are getting formed. So if you choose, instead if you choose certain other order, then your triangles can be a different set of triangles, and there is a chance that you may get wrong answer there. So now what we do is, from the figure, you can say that area of quadrilateral ABCD equal to area of triangle ABD plus area of triangle BCD, right? Because these two triangles are forming by splitting the quadrilateral into two parts. So when you sum these two areas, you are going to get area of the quadrilateral. That's the whole idea. So now let's find area of triangle ABD. For that, we have formula given. So what I have to now say is, what is A? I'm saying A equal to x1 comma y1, that is minus 5 comma 7. B is minus 4 comma minus 5, and D is 4 comma 5, right? Now let's substitute the values of x1 y1, x2 y2, x3 y3 into the formula of area of triangles, so that I can get area of triangle ABD as half modulus of minus 5 for x1 times minus 5 minus 5 for y2 minus y3 plus x2 is minus 4 times y3 minus y1 is 5 minus 7 plus x3 is 4, y1 minus y2 is 7 minus 5, right? You simplify this. When you do that, you are getting it as half modulus of 50 plus 8 plus 48, right? That can be written as half modulus of 106. So I can write it as half times 106 because modulus is going to drop the sign anyway. Since it is a positive sign, we don't need really worry about it. Half times 106 is 53. So now I can write area of triangle ABD equal to 53 square units. Let's note this point and go and find area of triangle BCD now. Let me call B equal to minus 4 comma minus 5 as x1 y1 so that I can substitute this into the formula of area of triangle, and C as x2 comma y2 and D as x3 comma y3, right? Now if you substitute these values into area of triangle formula and simplify, you get area of triangle BCD equal to half modulus of 44 minus 10 plus 4, right? That is equal to half times modulus of 38, that is equal to 19. So now I can say that area of triangle BCD is 19 square units, right? So area of quadrilateral ABCD is going to be sum of area of triangle ABD and area of triangle BCD, right? Area of triangle ABD is 53 units and area of triangle BCD is 19 units. When you sum them, you get area of quadrilateral ABCD as 72 square units. I hope you understood the problem now. Let's go to the next problem, that is problem number 3. The points 3 comma minus 2, minus 2 comma 8 and 0 comma 4 are 3 points in a plane, so that these points are collinear. The points that are on a straight line are called collinear points, right? This is what we have learned earlier. As you see here, ABC are collinear points. They are on a straight line. Whereas ABD are not collinear and they are forming a triangle, right? So collinear points are not forming a triangle, right? It means if I compute the area of triangle with the points which are collinear, then I'm going to get area of triangle as 0, right? Let me write that. Area of triangle for the collinear points is going to be 0. So now we can make use of area of triangle formula and use the coordinates given. When you compute the area, if you get 0, it means that those points are collinear points. If you don't get 0, it means they are not collinear. I hope you got the point. Now let's use area of triangle formula given here. I'm saying x1 comma y1 equal to 3 comma minus 2, x2 comma y2 is minus 2 comma 8, and x3 comma y3 is 0 comma 4, and substitute them into the formula given for area of triangle. And when you simplify it, you get answer as 0. It means area of triangle is 0, right? We said that when area of triangle is 0, the points are collinear points, right? Since area of triangle is 0, I say that the points 3 comma minus 2, minus 2 comma 8 and 0 comma 4 are collinear points. If you take a graph paper and plot these, you will get a straight line passing through all these points. I hope you got the point. Let us learn about slope of a straight line now. Let us consider a straight line as shown here. The line in red color is the straight line we are talking about, right? I'm marking few points on the line. As you see here, I have marked 2 points on this particular line. This is one point, and this is another point, right? If you observe the change in x from this particular line to this 4, right? Similarly, if you observe the change in y, when you are moving from one point here to another point here. The x changes 4 units and y is also changing 4 units, right? Now let me take the ratio. Change in y by change in x is 4 by 4, that is equal to 1, right? Now let me mark another point. And if you observe the change in x units, change in x for this particular one is 5 units. Similarly, you have change in y also 5 units. So change in y by change in x is again 1, right? Now let me mark another point. Change in x is 3 units when you move from here to here, right? And change in y is also the same when you move from here to here. So their ratio is 1. So now I can say that for the straight line we have considered, change in y by change in x is a constant, that is 1 in this particular case. And that constant is called slope of the line. So slope of the red color line is 1, right? Now let's consider another straight line, which is different from earlier one. I'm marking few points as earlier on this line. As you see here, when x is 4 units, the change in x is 4 units from here to here. Change in y is only 2 units, right? So their ratio is 2 by 4, that is equal to 0.5. If I mark another point, change in x is 6 units, whereas change in y is 3 units. You can observe that in figure. So change in y by x, change in y by change in x is 0.5. Let me mark another point. So for this particular one, change in x is 2 units and change in y is 1 unit. The ratio is again 0.5. So for this particular line, we can say that change in y by change in x is also a constant, but this time the constant is 0.5. I'm calling this constant as slope of the line. Slope of the line we have drawn just now is 0.5. Please note this point. Since we got the concept of slope of line, let's try to derive the formula for slope of line now. Let us consider a line segment AB as shown here. As you see here, it is making an angle theta with x-axis, that is horizontal line, right? As you see here, A is x1 comma y1 and point B is x2 comma y2, right? Let me mark this particular point as C. Then if you observe ABC, it is a right angle triangle, right? And we have learned that slope of line equal to change in y by change in x. So if I denote slope of line using m as shown here, that is equal to change in y divided by change in x, right? Change in y for line segment AB is y2, that is here, minus y1 divided by x2, that is here, minus x1, right? From here to here. So now I can say that change in y is equal to BC, right? And change in x is AC. So let me write it as slope of line M equal to BC by AC. If you observe the triangle and this particular angle theta, and this angle, this is also going to be theta, right? Because these two angles are corresponding angles, right? If I take the opposite side of this, that is BC, and adjacent side of this particular angle, that is AC, right? From the trigonometry, we know the ratio of opposite side and adjacent side is tan theta, right? Here theta is the acute angle of interest for us. That is, tan theta is defined as opposite side by adjacent side, that is equal to BC by AC. It means slope of line M is going to be equal to tan theta, right? That is equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? Please take a note of this formula. Slope of the line is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. That is going to be equal to tan theta. In a case when theta is the angle made by the line with x-axis. Please note this. If angle made by the line, straight line with x-axis is theta, then the slope is going to be m equal to tan theta. I hope you understood the concept. If the angle with y-axis is given, then it is not going to be, slope is not going to be tan theta. Slope is going to be 1 by tan theta. Please take a note of this point. Let's go to a problem based on this concept now. The endpoints of a line are 2, 3 and 4, 5. Find the slope of the line. We know that slope of the line m equal to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? Let's say that x1 comma y1 is 2 3 and x2 comma y2 equal to 4 5. When you substitute these into the previous equation, you get slope of line as 5 minus 3 divided by 4 minus 2. That is equal to 2 by 2 equal to 1. So I can say now that slope of the line is 1. Let's solve another problem, that is problem number 2. Determine x so that 2 is the slope of the line through points P, that is 2, 5 and Q x, 3, right? Slope of the line is given, that is 2. We know that slope of line can be written as y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1, right? Let me say that P is x1 y1, that is 2 5 and Q is x2 y2, that is x 3. When you substitute these into the previous equation, you can say that slope 2 or m equal to 2, that is equal to 3 minus 5 divided by x minus 2. Let me rearrange this equation. When you simplify it, you get 3 minus 5 is minus 2 in the numerator, and I'm keeping the denominator as is, and rest of the equation is kept as is. Now I am going to rearrange such that I can write it as 2 times x minus 2, that is, I'm doing sort of cross multiplication, equal to minus 2, right? 2 times x minus 2 equal to minus 2. When you simplify it further, you get 2x minus 4 equal to minus 2. Let me rearrange this so that I can get x equal to 1 as the answer. So what we are asked to find is determine x so that slope is 2 for the line passing through P equal to 2, 5 and Q equal to x, 3, where Q is now going to be 1, 3. I hope you understood the problem. I hope you like the video. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel Learn to Score. Thank you.